All right, today we're going to be beginning our portrait of Chadwick Boseman, who most famously starred as the Black Panther in the MCU in 2018. We have started with our line of symmetry and designated a spot for the top of his head to the bottom of his chin. Next thing we're going to do is create an eye line, and eye lines typically go halfway on that line, and the measuring technique is very simple. You guess where you think the midline will be, and then you take your pencil, put the pencil at one point, hold your pencil at the other point, and then compare the two. Now, this distance here is a little bit longer than this distance here, and that's a good thing because in our picture, in our model, the eyes are slightly raised. He's looking up like a monarch, like a king does. They're looking very proud of his kingdom, and so we're going to raise the eye line just a little bit and then bring it straight across. Now remember that we need to figure out how far out we're going to go on the side of the face. And we're going to take our line of symmetry, break it up into thirds. Again, I guess, but then I check. This distance should be equal to this distance, which should be equal to this distance, and it is. So then I take that, and I take it from the center outwards, and then I take that same distance and go to the opposite side. Okay, now because he is slightly turned to one side, and if you look at our example, slightly turned to one side, line of symmetry is here, eye line is slightly raised, and when we look at the distance from the center line to the outside, this side is slightly longer than that because he is turned slightly. So we're going to move this side out about a ½ inch, and we're going to move this side in about a ½ inch to kind of turn his head slightly. Once we have these 4 points, the top of the head, bottom of the chin, side of the face, we're going to draw our oval. I'd start at the top half first and then work on the bottom half. And this is just a standard oval. The shape of his face we will work on in a little while. But right now we're just mapping things out, plotting eyes, nose, mouth. So we just want a general oval so we can continue. Remember, it's a little heavier on this side, a little lighter on this side. We're going to take our eye line, separate it into 5 equal sections. We know that the face is 5 eyes wide. We know that the distance between the eyes is the length of one eye. So I'm going to take a guess on how wide I want my eyes to be. And I'm going to check that distance and see if it's 1, 2 to this side with a little bit left over. 1, 2, 3 to that side with a little bit more left over because, again, he's turned to the side slightly. So it was a pretty good guess. But I'm going to double check it anyway. And then once I've decided that yes, that is correct, I'm going to put in my other hash marks. So that's the left eye. This is the right eye. And this side of the face should be closer to the eye than this side. Remember that the line here represents the bottom of the eyes. So we're just going to put our standard eye shape in those sections. Make sure they're the same height. So if a secondary line is necessary, then go ahead and place that in there so that the eyes are about the same length and the same height. That's very important in order to try to get our likeness. So they don't have to look like his eyes just yet, but they do have to be in the right place. Distance between the eyes is the length of one eye. Head is 5 eyes wide. All right, everybody good so far? If we look at our example, okay, he is looking slightly to the side. He's not looking dead center at the camera, and so this side of the eye has a small piece of white. This side has a little bit larger. Same thing over here. Small sliver, larger sliver. So as we place the pupils, we're going to place them slightly, sorry, not the pupils, the irises, slightly to the left in both of them. Looking at our example again, if you look closely, okay, his eyes are so brown that you cannot see the pupil. You don't know how big or small it is. We know it's there, we just can't see it. So the temptation for young artists is to just shade in the whole thing a dark value. I would not do that. We know that the pupil's there, and we know that it's dead center. So we're going to draw the pupils because we know that they're there. And the highlight will exist just in the top portion of the iris as well. So we've located the iris and the pupil, even though we can't see it in the example, we know it's there. And then the iris, which is turned slightly to the side in both of them. Location, location, location. We know that the eyes are in the right place because we took the time to measure them. The eyelid line on both eyes mirrors the shape of the eye itself. So just lightly put those in. We'll work on them a little later, but we just want them in place. And we're also going to locate the eyebrows. And the eyebrows are very full. They're very thick. And they have a slight arch to them. It's not much. Let's just do a light placement of both eyebrows. This one appears to be a little bit longer, again, because he's turned slightly to one side. We see more of this end, okay? Once again, okay, so eyes are in a pretty good place. We're going to start to move down the face now and locate the nose. The nose we know is halfway between the eyebrow line and the chin. So once again, we're going to take a guess. And we're going to split that line in half. We're going to check, use our measuring technique, tip of the pencil at the nose line, fingers at the chin line, and bring it straight up. And the tip now corresponds with the eyebrow line, so we're good to go there. We know it should be located right here. We also know that if we go straight down from the corner of our eye, if we've done our eyes correctly, we know that the nose should be that wide. Chadwick's nose is different from our model last week. So you got to start with the line of symmetry. I'm a little bit off, so I'm going to readjust and just move it over a little bit. And start from the center and work your way up. You see both nostrils. You do not want to get it any wider than what is inside the corner of the eye. So don't get stressed about the shape too much right now. Again, we're just locating things. We can always work on the actual shape when we have time. Follow the line of symmetry down. We're going to locate the mouth. The opening of the mouth is 1/3 of the way down, 2/3 of the way up. One-third of the way down, 2/3 of the way up. And his mouth, the opening of his mouth is a little bit like an M. It starts here, curves up, and then slants down. And we know that the mouth is going to go right down from the inside part of the iris on both sides. Line of symmetry, be a little longer on that side, a little shorter on this side, and this is the opening of the mouth. His upper lip, you got to leave a little bit of room between the nose and the lip. There's his mustache is going to go right in there. And then the bottom lip is a nice curve. Top lip is thicker. Sorry, bottom lip is thicker than the top lip. And again, the shape does not have to be exact. We're locating it in between the inside parts of the iris and locating it 1/3 of the way down. Okay. So just an initial drawing of what we think it'll look like. We can go back later and make it better. All right. Now, we restructure his head shape. All right. Once looking at the example, this side of the face has a nice highlight on it, a nice strong highlight. So we're able to see the side of his face and the shape of the side of his face very easily. Notice how close the side of the face is to the corner of the eye. That will help us as we distinguish the side of our face. We got to leave room for the eyebrow ridge. It goes very close. He doesn't have really high cheekbones. He does have he has cheekbones. They're not very high. Okay, so there's not a big round curve there. It kind of goes straight down as it then goes into his jawline. And not too premature. There's a little sliver of an ear. You see just a little bit of it peeking out from that side. Not worried. I'm guessing where the chin and jaw are. Because of the beard, it's going to make it a little bit problematic. And the guess will just be that. It'll just be a guess. And then we'll start to dictate a little bit more of that space once we start adding the facial hair. But first, I'm going to bring this side of the face in to the jaw jaw is going to come down like this. I'm going to square the chin just a little bit. Double check some of my proportions. Is my line of symmetry still good? I think it is. A little bit of shine on the side of the face. And then the ear goes from the bottom of the eye line, or bottom of the eyes, the eye line, and goes right to the upper lip. So we go to the upper lip straight over, and then this is just kind of like a large C. It's a flat C. Okay, so I take that back. It's not large. It's not like straight out like this. It kind of goes up and then down, so it's pretty close to the head. And just a few interior lines to kind of show the shape of that. And the lower, this ear over here, to match that one. And the neck, where the jaw and the ear meet. The neckline on that side comes straight down. So the ear and where the jaw meet, draw a vertical line for the neck. On this side, it's in just a little bit more. And then we're going to move his shoulders down. His suit is pretty high on the neck. So we're going to just create a concentric curved line. Right there. Now we have to add the hair. All right, we're probably going to start at the bottom first. And there is a space underneath the nose, so the mustache does not go straight through. There's a little bit of space here, and it's very thin. As it comes down, this is called, this is called a goatee. It comes down above the upper lip and then just goes straight down. Once you reach the corners of the mouth, just straight down, just drawing the shape, There is a little bit of value here. And I'm not sure if it's just straight shadow or if there's a little tuft of hair there. But I'm going to place it in as a value. And then the hair goes from these two vertical lines across the chin. And is pretty long. It's going to go down out in front of the neckline. And then we'll sit, the beard goes right along the jawline. And once those two lines are there, the chin line itself goes away. And we're going to talk about texture of this hair and the beard hair next time. But right now we're just locating shapes and placements. If it helps to shade it in slightly, then shade it in slightly. And right now, with the lines being so stiff, it's like we kind of glued it on. It's like he's in a Halloween costume with a fake beard. And so that's okay. Right now, that's perfectly fine. His hairline, okay, comes down just a little bit, goes across, and then down to the ear. This side is a little bit more curved, and then his hair is right above it. It's pretty much a strong curve. It should just almost kiss the top of the paper here, but have a little bit of space left over. Once again, if it helps you to just kind of see a little bit of value here, that's fine. If you're confident that everything is in place, you can start to remove some of your guidelines. You no longer need the line of symmetry, you no longer need the eye line. Those can go away. Now the question will be asked, do we have to do all the texture of the material of the outfit? And if you look at the material and the texture of the outfit, it's a lot. It's very small, very complicated, and so we're going to not worry about all of that detail, but what we are going to worry about, because this is what kind of gives him his Black Panther look, is we're going to drop in the necklace, the Black Panther necklace, and add all of the Black Panther claws. And then we're just going to shade in the outfit without a lot of extraneous texture and things like that. So these claws will flange out like a hand. Okay, so they're gradually going to change direction as you bring them up to the other side. Before I do any substantial shading of the face, I want to double check everything. Make sure everything is in the right place. Is there something not working right? And then the next step, obviously, is making the eyes look like Chadwick's eyes. The shape of the nose look like Chadwick's nose. The shape of the lips look like Chadwick's lips. And that way, I'm going to start to get more resemblance. Right now, it's a black dude with a goatee and a beard. And as I develop more experience, be able to get those shapes, and then therefore the likeness of the character that I'm drawing. So that was the first step. Plotting and starting with your line of symmetry, making sure all the proportions are there, and just mapping it out. And then next time we'll talk a little bit more about details and values and textures. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.